a man sentenced for sexually assaulting 2 women, the Shivwitz Christmas Toy Drive, and a car show raised $8,000 for Toys for Tots.
You're watching St. George News at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Amy Bennett. A man accused of sexually assaulting 2 women last year was recently sentenced in court. Here's Cody Blowers with more on the hearing.
A defendant, 29-year-old Raymond Capongo, appeared in 5th District Court for sentencing on November 16th, facing 2 second-degree felony counts of forcible sexual abuse, charges he pleaded guilty to during a pretrial conference held in October, while the first-degree felony rape charges were dismissed in exchange for a guilty plea. The 2 cases were filed in 2 separate sexual assaults that took place in 2022. During the hearing, prosecutor Jerry Jager said this.
I was shocked when I read his own statement. I mean, here he is blaming the victims for his conduct. And that's how the state feels about him. He is sick. And at this point, he should not be walking the streets. And he needs to be in prison. And it'd be the state's recommendation to the parole board that he stays in there for the full 30 years.
The question before the court was whether or not the sentences would run consecutive or concurrent. And District Judge Keith C. Barnes also commented before handing down his sentence.
Let me first address the very, very important and special people in this case, and that's the courageous victims. You're not only people, but you are strong, courageous women, and you can realize that you're a survivor. Mr. Capongo is not a survivor. Mr. Capongo has spent many, many years in prison, charged of forcible sexual abuse, a second-degree felony. You are sentenced to serve 1 to 15 years at the Utah State Prison.
Southern Utah water managers are hopeful that there will be more snow and rainfall as the winter season progresses. Here's Maury Kessler with the story.
The water year is off to a slow start in Utah, with snow water equivalent levels at 39% below normal for this time of year. Despite that, water managers are cautiously optimistic that the coming winter will bring decent snowpack levels between now and April. However, if winter rain and snowfall proves lacking, the state has a safety net in its reservoirs, which are currently at 77% capacity overall, which is 20% higher than it was for this time last year. The outlook for Washington County's own reservoirs also hovers around 77%, with Gunlock near completely full, San Hollow at over 90% full, Kolob at 81%, and Quail Creek at 76%. While the water storage looks good for the coming year, local and state water managers continue to stress the need for water conservation in order to save on water as much as possible in case the coming winter snowpack doesn't deliver as hoped.
Thanks, Maury. A new roundabout in Cedar City will replace a 4-way stop near the Eccles Coliseum to help the flow of traffic. Alicia Lundgren has more on the Cedar City project.
A new roundabout is coming to the intersection of Center Street and 1150 West in Cedar City, courtesy of the Utah Department of Transportation. Cedar City staff and council members lent the project their support earlier this month. Representatives of Southern Utah University say they're excited to use the space to design landscaping or art that represents the university. The project will cost an estimated $3.25 million and could be completed by 2026.
Thanks, Alicia. This year's annual Shivwitz Christmas Toy Drive was dedicated to one of the tribe's leaders who passed away earlier this year. Here's Stephanie DeGraw on the toy drive.
The 26th annual Shivwitz Toy Drive and Scholarship Fund is dedicated to a Shivwitz Band of Paiute Native American leader. Glenn Rogers passed away in May of this year, and the co-founder of the toy drive, Jim Seavey, had this to say.
I'd like to dedicate this year's toy drive and scholarship funding to Glenn Rogers because of all that he had done for the people on the reservation. He did some great things. He was quite a leader. As quiet a man as he was, he certainly let his opinion be known.
Last year, the drive provided toys and food to over 300 children and tribal leaders. Scholarships were awarded to 24 Native American students for books and supplies. The toy drive is expanding to ask for corporate donations, along with many private gifts that are trickling in. Toys and donations can be dropped off at M&S Turquoise in downtown St. George until December 18th.
Thanks, Stephanie. Around $8,000 was raised at the 13th annual Rick Massey Memorial Car Guys Care Toys for Tots car show. Here's Eric George Gould with more on the event.
Classic car enthusiasts enjoyed a fundraising auction and toy drive. at Bose CarQuest Auto Parts Saturday afternoon. The 13th annual Rick Massey Car Guys Care Toys for Tots car show raised an estimated $8,000. Organizer Shane Dastrup told St. George News that the classic car scene in St. George is active and year-round, bringing together a big crowd of car lovers who just want to hang out at community events.
Thanks, Eric. And now to Aaron Crane to give the breakdown of what happened this past week in sports.
Thanks, Amy. 4 senior soccer players at Snow Canyon have recently signed their letters of intent to play collegiately. These girls have been playing together since they were 6 years old and will continue to stay teammates as they have all signed to play at Colorado Northwestern Community College. Utah Tech men's basketball hosted Utah Valley in their home opener on Saturday, beating the Wolverines 65-53. The Trailblazers have now improved their record to 4-3 on the year and are picking up steam heading into conference play. SUU, on the other hand, fell to a 73-63 loss to Seattle University. The Redhawks led by as many as 17 points in the game, and it was too much for the Thunderbirds to overcome. Now back to you, Amy.
Thank you for watching St. George News at 5. I'm Amy Bennett with St. George News, your #1 source for local news.
This has been St. George News at 5.